Hey guys, welcome to your weekend of August 28th, 29th, and 30th. So we are closing out the month, pretty much into Virgo season, and I'm sure you guys can already feel the work life starting to pick up. We're becoming a lot busier with the demands happening in our lives and the people around us. So we can feel like definitely like there's a lot of rules and things asked of us this weekend with a lot of Capricorn energy. The moon is moving into Capricorn, and yes, that does mean that it's going to be hitting those three really tough planets in a row. So starting out with Jupiter, because Jupiter is always first, we are going to be right in conjunction, the moon and Cap and Jupiter on Friday. So we're going to be seeing maybe a little bit of exciting energy, but it's not enough to sustain us through this very heavy, weighty weekend. So it can feel like, this weekend there's really no place to hide. There's really nowhere to run from, the demands and the work. But that's okay because we are in Virgo season, so we are much more equipped to handle that stuff, to handle responsibilities, to just kind of adult, if you will, and just to kind of keep moving through it, because Virgo energy is very flexible, it is mutable, and that means that it can navigate kind of any scenario because it's got Mercury. It's guided with quickness of thought and quickness of action, or at least tasking. It has more of this following through capability as opposed to Gemini, which wants to do everything through speech. It's less physical, but the earth signs are very much physical. They represent our bodies, things that literally move or stand still. And so this weekend, it can feel very much like, you want to, we always want to enjoy our weekends, obviously, but the work stuff is really picking up in a big way. So if that's the case for you, roll with it, try not to fight it, try not to get more upset or worried about it than is necessary. Virgo season brings a lot of our anxieties out because, again, that Mercury energy, it gives us this quickness of thought, and that also makes us very quick to, judge, quick to stress, very stressful, and so just taking on more than we can kind of handle. And Capricorn is definitely a signifier of that. Capricorn likes to know everything that's going on, but yet not have to do the dirty work almost. It would rather like designate other people, kind of like a boss or something. And so, be very aware of how many demands or responsibilities you're pushing onto other people. And if you're holding yourself accountable this weekend, that's definitely a signifier of Capricorn energy. Looking back at yourself and being like, okay, no, I am doing my share. I am kind of holding up this house, this community, whatever it is, Capricorn is very politically involved, so I wouldn't be surprised if this weekend we see some ripe politics happening with the presidential campaign, maybe even local offices. Moon in Capricorn, very much where the moon does not like to be, because that's opposite of Cancer. It's natural placement. So when we get that moon in Capricorn energy, we become very agitated very easily. We don't like to be pushed to have to work, to have to manage, to have to perform. When we're working with the moon energy, it's very passive. It's very much more about comfort and relaxation. So it's very different when we kind of expedite that process with a Capricorn energy. So, not the most exciting weekend. I can't say any of these weekends really have been. It's just because there's a lot of bigger energy that is continually evolving us to where we need to be come 2021. And so, no, I'm sure you already know that this is not a fun year in general. And that's going to continue for a little longer, but I do feel like it's going to get easier. We're very, very far into these retrogrades. And so I think we've seen a lot of that initial kind of backpedaling start. And now we're more in the middle to end process. So come Aquarius season, I have really high hopes that, end of January 2021, that we're going to be all headed in the right direction. But that's going to take some time. I mean, there's so many different viewpoints, politically or non-politically out there that are crossing paths right now, despite COVID. That's just the icing on the cake, that's adding, another dynamic to it all. And so pushing us indoors and with the things that are most important to us up close and personal, where we cannot avoid them, is a lot more stressful, is a lot more triggering, and is a lot harder to work with when you constantly have to face your problems. And that's kind of what we are dealing with here in stay home life. Everything is surrounding us. We can't go to our friends for distractions as easily. Maybe we can do like a messenger chat or something like that, but it's not the same as going out and getting drunk for a night and just having a little frolic, when you need to let out some stress. Or we don't have that adaptability anymore to kind of navigate our anxieties in our lives. We're kind of stuck with our responsibilities, which is bringing us back into focus with that deep Saturn and Capricorn energy that those planets are evolving right now. And so we're seeing a lot of changes with Capricorn people. So if you have a sun in Capricorn, I'm sure you already know this is a huge year for you, and I hope you're rolling with the punches and you're just leveling up each step of the way, because you guys are almost bringing us into the future. You're getting the first punch before we move into the Aquarius energy, and Scorpio is coming in to clean you of your past ways, your traditions, your restrictive tendencies, where you tend to put up walls and barriers. It's trying to break those down. It's trying to break down a lot of the structure in your life so you can take on better things. And so you guys have a lot of deep work to do. Even if you have a rising or a moon in Capricorn, like, this is going to be affecting you a lot heavier too, because that transformative energy is happening in your sign, especially if it's within a few degrees of your sign or right on top of it. So definitely look into your chart and reach out to me if you have any questions about that. But let's get into it. So Friday, moon in Capricorn, teaming up with Jupiter a little bit, not terrible there. Jupiter's already in Capricorn, so it's feeling a lot of that energy. Jupiter loves to start things, loves to go on adventures, maybe go for a hike or go see some sort of stand-up show, which, we can't really do right now, but there's always Netflix. So having, maybe some time, where you get to maybe smoke up a little bit and watch a comedy show, something of that nature. I won't say you will be able to totally be a couch potato on Friday, because again, that Capricorn energy is just pushing us to be successful, and we can't really do that when we're trying to relax. So we're also trining Mercury. So Mercury is moving hella fast. Mercury is on its way. Virgo season, it loves Virgo season. That's one of its home signs. And we really can't slow it down. It looks like it's taken the reign from Mars being stuck in this tough square and Jupiter being stuck in Capricorn energy, the two fastest planets out there. And, well, faster, but not necessarily faster in speed, but faster in their personalities, their fire energy, that they get things started, get us moving in directions. Mercury is actually the fastest one in our system. So it's not surprising, but I do think it's getting this boost, like, oh, it's my turn now to just pick up the pace for everybody, to keep everybody on the same page, to keep us going, communicating, but We run the risk with Mercury energy being very strong that we second guess ourselves. We do not come across as very focused, and because Mercury likes to play both sides. And so that can be very confusing for other people when there's a lot of Mercury energy happening. A lot of people don't understand, devil's advocate situations, things like that, where you're trying to pry for answers, but you aren't necessarily taking a viewpoint. You're just trying to get information. And that's very much like what news media and things of a publishing nature do. They're just trying to get more of a dialogue going. They're just trying to keep the conversation flowing. So Virgo makes us a little more successful in that, but I would still say that Virgo has a tendency to be very long-winded and maybe over-explain, whereas Gemini, it can go through a lot of directions in the span of one conversation, but Virgo can almost overdo one topic to where they've gone through all the details, like they're checking all the boxes, and you're just like, I don't want to talk to this person anymore, that just like, I don't know where they were going with that, but when you're just talking to somebody and you're like, yeah, that's very like you're talking to a Virgo kind of energy, like they're just literally trying to get it all out, but it's not always super exciting. And Virgo season, likewise, can kind of seem a little boring, like it's not exciting, surely, after coming from Leo energy, which is very creative, very expressive, lots of playtime, and then going into Libra energy, which is all about kind of the glow up factor. It's getting your hair done, it's getting a new outfit, it's finding a romantic partner. There's a lot of fun, but in between those two energies, we have Virgo, which is kind of trying to stabilize your life a little bit. It's trying to organize, to clean you up, to get you on some good health routines, some just some good habits established. So if you feel like you're kind of trying to restructure the way you live your life right now, that is totally Virgo season playing out. And it's certainly necessary. So I would encourage you to follow those instincts that you're having. So Saturday, let's move into Saturday. Friday. So when the moon trines Mercury, not too bad there. It can just feel like there's something bigger going on, because again, that moon is moving through all of those Capricorn placements, and that's the really meaty stuff that's transforming the world. So if you feel like there's some excitement with Jupiter and Mercury, wanting to change it up, to do something exciting this weekend, but you just feel like you can't fully enjoy it, that's because that bigger energy is working out, and it's telling you to be serious, to be mindful, and to just look for success and not necessarily have playtime. And then we have Saturday. So touching Saturn on Saturday, the moon will be kind of lining up right on Saturn. So it's going to be moving through Jupiter, then Pluto, and then lastly Saturn, which is the hardest one to change, society at large, basically. And so when the moon is touching Saturn on Saturn Day, it's going to be very, very charged, because if I haven't already explained this to you guys, every day of the week has a planet associated with it. So we've got Monday, which is called Moon Day. Tuesday is Mars Day. Wednesday is Mercury Day. Thursday is Jupiter Day. Friday is Venus Day. And Saturday is Saturn Day. So you can actually see a more significant energy related to those planets on those days of the week. That doesn't mean that it's only for that energy, but there's a bigger focus in mind. Similar to when we're moving through a season, we're in Virgo season, so we can tie a lot of the things that are happening right now to that energy. It's kind of like that, but on a smaller level when we look at the days of the week. So, but Saturn Day, with Saturn coming into focus for the moon, that's a lot of Saturn energy. So, really, really just be on it. Just follow the orders. Don't ask too many questions. Just kind of do your share of the work and just keep moving on. Try not to, Virgo, we start to think of all the possibilities and we get some anxiety over what can happen. It's better sometimes to just do it and then, question it later if it's still bothering you. So that's my advice for if you have a lot of work stuff going on Saturday. Just kind of roll with it. Just get something done. And then we have Mercury trining Jupiter. So like I was saying, Mercury is moving very fast. So it's going through a lot of placements or aspects in its path. It's well into Virgo already, and then it's trining Jupiter on Saturday. So again, trying to lighten the mood a little bit from all that serious energy. I'm not going to say that it's hugely impactful in doing that because Mercury overall doesn't have a huge, not power, but a huge kind of scope. It doesn't affect the world or, bigger entities. It's more about the personal. So when it comes to ourselves, we'll be a little in better spirits, maybe joking, maybe wanting to even plan a trip, or just go for a little day adventure, like a day hike. When we see that Jupiter energy, it's telling us we want to have some fun. And then Mercury, bringing people along with us on that journey. So Saturday isn't too bad, but it's still that same aspect of really not fully enjoying anything because there is something bigger kind of in the back of our minds. Basically, it can feel like there's something heavier that's a little harder to move through. And again, don't question that. It's not a very helpful train of thought right now, because Virgo can really go down the rabbit hole and come up with all these conspiracy theories when it gets overwhelmed by something and start to look at the possibilities before the thing has even taken hold, And then Sunday, so we'll talk about Sunday. The moon moves into Aquarius. So Sunday, Aquarius isn't usually sought after for its relaxation, but it will be a lot nicer coming out of that really tough Saturn energy this weekend. Transitioning into Aquarius, we become more inventive. We become more existential, and just thinking bigger, and so it's less about doing the work, but it's more about having the ideas. So you may become very inspired on Sunday, to really, really do some big things for yourself, to kind of set yourself up for things down the road, to let yourself dream a little. What could my life look like? What could I be doing? What's really going to solve the problem? Because Capricorn almost presents the problem to the team, like the manager or the boss, and then it's up to the team to resolve it. The manager, it doesn't even have a part really in that. It gets to more so play the judge and say yes or no when it does or doesn't like something, but it's more so about putting pressure onto you to get things done. That's that Capricorn energy, which can be very hard to work with. And then Aquarius is more about having the inspiring ideas, the things that are going to solve the problems. So stepping into that, frame of mind, maybe even some friend time, that's a sign of friendship, but it's just thinking outside of the box. So it's really nice to come out of that really tough Saturn, just do it, don't ask questions, and then moving into on Sunday, Aquarius, which allows you to ask every question. It really allows you to explore your mind and everything out there that'll give you more of those answers. So like I said, don't ask questions at first, just do it. And then Sunday, you can think a little deeper about the stuff. But it's hard to get stuff done when you're trying to think deeply at the same time. So don't run that risk this weekend. Try to keep some division. If anything, with that Saturn, keep that healthy boundary this weekend. Don't try to just blur it all. So Sunday, Venus opposing Pluto. That could be fun for, a little bit of a sex life. We have Pluto, a very, very fixed sexual energy there. And then Venus, which is, the sign of romance. It's also a physical pleasure, by Taurus, kind of housed in that sign too. So I feel like, there's definitely a chance there for you to come into some sort of new, maybe sexual situation, or maybe it's somebody from your past even, because I believe Venus is still in Cancer. And that looks for things that are familiar to us. So people that we already know, maybe it's a past fling, somebody that you talked to before, but maybe things didn't really go the way you intended, and you're kind of recycling that relationship. You're bringing it back up, and it starts out with some, really, really sexy times. So be safe, please. Be mindful. The virus is a very serious thing, so we don't want to be casual when we're becoming intimate with other people or just hanging around them in general, So be very aware of how mindful other people are being with COVID safety, et cetera, et cetera. And then Sunday, also the Mercury is opposing Neptune. So I would say this is the one bad aspect that Mercury is having this week. Otherwise, it's doing fine and dandy. It's trining just about everything it can think of. Opposing Neptune, that isn't unnatural. It's actually very natural because Virgo is ruled by Mercury, and Virgo comes opposite Pisces, which Neptune rules. And so that's not something that's super unfamiliar, but they don't like to work together, can feel very different energy. So our thoughts, our minds, we're becoming more sensitive. Sensitive, when I kind of take on that Neptune or Pisces energy, not as precise with our speech or anything like that. And so be careful about the conversations that you're having, and just try to, if you feel like what you're trying to say just isn't being heard, or it's just not coming out the right way that it needs to, just tap into the energy of the conversation. Use that Piscean adaptability, that empathy to be the talker for you. It's not always about what we have to say. Sometimes it's about just being present and really tuning into the vibe. And that's kind of where those things are different, because Mercury wants to have all the facts. It wants to have ideas. It wants to give suggestions, solutions. It wants to link things together and associate them. It just wants to find out more. And Pisces really isn't trying to do that. Pisces is just like, okay, we're dealing with emotions here. That's a lot slower of a process to move through. We're not thinking on our feet like Mercury energy. Pisces is more about just absorbing the situation that's going on and almost being like a vessel for it. So if you're finding that your friends are going through something tough around Sunday and you just kind of need to be there for them, you need to just listen. You don't necessarily need to throw out a lot of suggestions. So if you feel like, they're not being heard, or it's just not necessary at all, that's that energy talking. So just trust it and just try to get to their level, but don't try to control the conversation, basically. Okay, and then we have a full moon in Pisces on September 1st, Tuesday. So getting you guys a little ready for that, look at where 10 degrees Pisces is in your chart. That's where it's going to be happening. And that's a great time for us to tie up, things of a spiritual nature, which is really hard to define. Just like the sign itself, it's really hard to see. Pisces is very invisible, very hidden energy. It's very secretive. And so things from 6 months ago when the new moon happened started this journey, and now it's coming to a conclusion. And so if you're seeing the effect of this secret maybe that you started, or maybe it was a spiritual practice of some kind, maybe you started meditation and now you're more evolved 6 months later, and it's helped you become more clear and more healthy and mindful. Maybe, let's see, we see, it's so hard to define. Pisces is really about the mystery, the unknown. It's also very creative and imaginative. So if you maybe started something of an artistic nature, back in Pisces season, it's coming back around now. And I almost see some correlation with Pisces and, COVID. It's very much out there, and it's kind of threatening us, and we're all very fearful, and we're even having to wear masks. And I think the symbolism of wearing a mask is very much Piscean in nature. It's protecting us by not being ourselves. We aren't exposing our full bodies and ourselves when we wear something that alters our appearance. And so I think there's bigger Pisces energy at play here. Just the big focus this year is really on Saturn and Pluto transforming the structure of our world. But again, that hidden Pisces energy, I feel like there's some kind of hidden meaning that's linking this all together, that maybe we'll find out. And maybe what it is really the age of Pisces is truly ending. And this is a significant event that will kind of take us really into the age of Aquarius in a new way. And maybe that's why I keep thinking that Aquarius season is just going to be so impactful, because we're really getting that last amount, of that sign. And it's always going to have a part to play, but I'm saying the direction of the world and the universe is expanding us into an Aquarius consciousness, which is becoming more understanding of everybody and their situations. And it's less about organized religions, beliefs, like strong beliefs. And Aquarius sure can have some strong beliefs, but it is also, it gives space for other people to have theirs too. It's not just suffocating, like with a lot of like religions, at least in this country, I feel like you have to prescribe to their way of thinking or being. And if you don't, you can't be a part of it. It's almost very exclusive. Like you can't be your own person through a religion. And I think Aquarius will take us into, yes, you can have your own thoughts and ideas and be a part of some sort of a group, and there's pros and cons to every sign, and Aquarius certainly has some too. But I think it's an exciting direction, one that's necessary after having so much of that sign for so long. So yeah, some big talk for you guys. I know it's not a crazy exciting weekend, I'm sorry, but maybe Mercury and Jupiter will throw in some sort of adventure out there. Just be very safe, be healthy. That Mercury focus, we're really thinking about the possibilities of impacting our health. Maybe you're getting a doctor's checkup, maybe you're starting to take some supplements, starting a diet, trying to introduce something healthy into your lifestyle, mentally, physically, whatever that nature. So yeah, just do the work this weekend. Don't ask questions until maybe Sunday, and then we're gonna go from there. So if you guys want a reading with me, please book one at tarotwithtyler.com. I've redid my website a little bit, so it's a little easier to navigate, and you can see specifically the services that I offer. And stay tuned for our next week in astrology. Follow me on Instagram, Tarot with Tyler, just kind of keeping it all the same so it's easy to find me. And that's all I got, you guys. So enjoy, get ready for this full moon, maybe have some trauma, taking it back into a deep direction again with that Pisces energy, something to let go of, that loss feeling. Maybe you're starting a situation where you feel like you belong somewhere now. Like you've found some exciting new people or community to be a part of. You know, we're dropping old habits, like maybe addictions, those kinds of things with Pisces energies. We're entering a much more healthy mind, body, and soul with the Virgo season. Take care, guys.